Imagine opening your front door to find that long-awaited package finally sitting at your doorstep. Most of us rarely consider the journey it took to get there. The complex logistics network of planes, cargo ships, docks, trucks, warehouses, packaging centers, and delivery drivers that made it all possible. Behind every consumable item lies a world of coordination and strategy. Today, on episode 1 of the PROLinks Podcast, we sit down with Edwin Huen, CEO of GE Logistics, to explore that world from his humble beginnings in entrepreneurship to leading a modern logistics company to balancing the roles of CEO and a family man. Tune in for an insightful conversation on the past, present, and future of logistics. Welcome to the PROLinks Podcast. We're here to sit down with entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals to uncover the stories behind their success, the spaces they operate in, and how they're building their future. Real talk, real stories, and real estate, all in one place. We're your host, Adam Lee.
Andy Chia.
And today we have the pleasure of speaking with Edwin Huen, the CEO of GE Logistics. Thank you for making the time to do this with us.
Happy to be here. Thanks for the opportunity, guys.
Yeah, I want to share a story about our friendship and how we both started in our respective careers. But before I do that, for our viewers, Ed, please introduce yourself and tell us briefly about your business.
My name is Edwin Huen, CEO of GE Logistics. We are a full-service freight forwarding company. For those of you who don't know what that is, we are similar to like a UPS or a FedEx, but we kind of do the heavy lifting for commercial freight.
So Ed is actually one of my best friends, and we've known each other for over 30 years at this point. So we both went to college together and joined the same fraternity where we learned how to essentially run an organization. When we graduated, we both landed our first jobs at Morgan Stanley. Ed was in the commodities trading division, and I was in the commercial mortgage-backed securities division. Respectively, those positions gave us a glimpse into what we would eventually be doing today. What's more ironic is that we both resigned from Morgan Stanley on the same day, which was September 12th, 2008. And 3 days later, on September 15th, we both started in our respective businesses, which was the day that Lehman Brothers crashed in the market, marked the start of the 2008 recession. At that time, Lily and I had started a distribution company importing kitchen cabinetry from Shanghai. We had already received our initial shipment of inventory utilizing the manufacturer shipping company. But on that day, I called Ed to make him our official logistics company, and he got his first client on day one. With all that said, let's start from there. Ed, how did being in the fraternity, which essentially taught us how to operate an organization, and your first job at Morgan Stanley help shape who you are today in your business?
Well, first off, it's been crazy, saying 30 years that we've known each other. We've grown up a lot. We've gone to school together. Our career paths have kind of merged in and out throughout the years. As far as a fraternity, I'd say, it's the first time as an adult where you kind of learn who you are, your strengths, your weaknesses, because it's the first time you're being put in a organization where you actually have things to do, you're responsible for certain things, and you kind of learn your strengths, where you can contribute, and sometimes your weaknesses, where you realize, this may be better delegated to somebody else. So after college, it was our first job. Well, our first job was at Morgan Stanley. I was in the commodities trading group. That was a interesting experience. I was there for 2.5 years. It was interesting to see how we fit in an organization. You kind of learn your weaknesses and then your strengths. And then from that, you take that into business. You understand where you need to delegate your weaknesses, right? Play on your strong parts and delegate everything else, hire the right people, and that's how you become successful.
Wow, that's a great story, great background. I can't believe you both quit on the same day and had the same job and the first client. That was so I don't know how to put words for that. It's amazing. So Ed, I got a couple Question for you. Maybe you could highlight on this. So the logistic industry has changed in the last 17 years, right? And for us, what we're seeing is that there's a lot of demands in going to warehouses after the pandemic due to the increase of e-commerce. So it seems that everyone is using Amazon for shopping nowadays. Can you speak a little upon the changes that related to the global shipping?
Sure. Warehousing is interesting. Every day it's changing. So for Amazon FBA, as we call it, they have their own facilities where importers can ship directly to their warehouses, Amazon-owned warehouses, and they'll take everything from there, right? The distribution, the pick and pack, right? However, the reason why there's still private 3PLs around is because Amazon, according to our clients, we don't deal directly with them, but don't directly with FBA, but they say it's very expensive. They're paying a premium for it, right? Now, 3PLs, like we have in Los Angeles, will handle everything that FBA can do, right, at a much more competitive cost, and then ship directly from our 3PL to the end consumer. Okay. From Amazon.
I don't mean to cut you off, but can you break down for our viewers what 3PL is and FBA?
Sure. I mean, FBA, fulfilled by Amazon, is basically a 3PL that Amazon owns. It's their term for or their name of their 3PL. Everything is I won't say everything. A lot of it is automated. Again, you're paying a little bit of a premium for it because it is Amazon, where the importer will ship to Amazon and that's it. It's clean. They don't have to worry about anything else. As opposed to a 3PL, they're shipping to a 3PL in a warehouse, let's just say, for example, in Los Angeles. They will have the orders come in from Amazon, their Amazon site, their store. All the orders come into our 3PL daily, come in as tickets. We'll pick those items, whatever it is, and then slap a label on there and ship it out.
So now we will talk about Amazon, right? And my question is, how have you pivoted now? Amazon has entered this logistic space.
So Amazon has taken a big chunk of market share as far as warehousing. But there's still a lot of cost involved with Amazon. So a lot of importers are still going to go to these, so call them boutique warehouses and 3PLs to save on shipping costs. And sometimes, certain products need a specific handling that Amazon cannot do. For example, they need to kit things together. If you have a kayak that needs to kit to be together with let's say a paddle. Amazon doesn't really do those type of things, where as opposed to a 3PL, you can basically do whatever you want, very flexible.
Oh, okay, nice. So I remember having a conversation with you back in 2020, right when the pandemic hit, and it was chaos. There's a lot of supply chain issues. Manufacturers didn't know what to do at that point, and I just remembered you made a major pivot. It was a pivotal moment for your company, and you had success, in the years following the pandemic. But right now, there's other headlines right now that are kind of creating similar reactions in the market, right? And that's the tariff negotiations. Can you, let us know what you've been kind of going through in this disruption and how you're adapting to this change?
Yeah, sure. Logistics, if I could put it in a nutshell, is figuring out what's best for your clients during disruptions, which happen nearly every day. You have fuel price fluctuations. You have tariffs that are going on right now. You have port strikes. Right. You have regional conflicts that disrupt vessels and schedules. Right. So, for us, it's really a matter of trying to stay on top of things, news every morning, see what's going on in the shipping space. And if we need to, make adjustments, reroute certain shipments, hold certain shipments, don't ship them yet, maybe tell our clients, hey, you guys should ship as much as you can right now, just to get, ahead of the game. We know tariffs are coming, or we know, listen, there's certain areas that look a little iffy. So to avoid any further delays, let's get everything out.
Right. So it sounds like you guys have this, strategy to kind of put the client first, right? And it's kind of, similar in real estate. We do the same thing for our clients, right? Interest rates, they continuously fluctuate, and there are certain legislation and political events that affect a lot of these decisions. So we echo the same sentiment in the sense that we understand, the different pivots that you've had to make in this disruption. But yes,
I'm a technology guy, right? Right now, we know robotic AI is here to stay. What would you say to our viewer that in the future, delivering goods, robots that plays into logistics? Can you have a little input about that?
Yeah, AI's here. It's already here in the logistics space. I touched briefly on FBA, Amazon warehouses. They already have robots that with algorithms that pick products from their warehouses to a certain location to get ready to ship, right? That's already here. I think the next big thing with AI and robotics is automated delivery trucks. I'm sure you guys seen, those Tesla trucks rolling out.
Yep.
I believe Rivian has some now. I think that's the next big, as far as transportation delivery in our space. This is, I think it'll take some time. There's a lot of hurdles, a lot of legislation, DOT, things like that. That's gonna, kind of slow things down a little bit. Right. But it's gonna be here. It's gonna be here 5-10 years. Similar to automated taxi drivers like Waymo. Similar to Waymo.
Taxi,
correct. I think the first wave is going to be similar to Tesla. Uber, where you have Uber Freight, and you have apps where you can pick up freight and use.
Apps.
Yep, you do. Yep.
Whoa.
And then the next is going to be automated drivers, where you actually don't have a driver, and it's going to be similar. It's going to be an app.
Trucks.
Correct.
Right.
Or trucks.
So that tech kind of disrupts the whole dispatch, the current dispatch, of schedules of trucking, and it also, correct me if I'm wrong, right? Like technology has always been a huge part in the disruption of inefficiencies, right? So we know that since COVID, we hear on the headlines a lot of, shortage in labor at the ports, and possibly, the disorganization of, containers and being able to get the containers out of customs in time and getting it to the end user or whatnot. So do you think that, with robotics where, dangerous jobs like the port jobs and the deliveries of the automated trucks would essentially free up or be more efficient in your industry? And how do you plan to kind of adapt to that in your business?
For sure, it'll make things, especially deliveries, much more efficient. Even with deliveries, you could even say the shipping vessels.
Right.
There's always going to be an element of human error when you make deliveries with a driver or a captain of a vessel. Mm-hmm. People need to sleep. People get tired. Accidents happen. I think with these new automated vehicles, it's going to be much more efficient. It's going to lower cost. As bad as it sounds, there's going to be certain industries where the human element is no longer needed, and that's going to cause a big disruption. Which is why I think it's going to take a little bit of time for people to get used to. For example, Waymo. I keep going back to Waymo. I see it's a very similar type of disruption there.
Right.
So I think things are going to get more efficient. It's going to get cheaper. It's going to get quicker. It's just a matter of adaptation.
And you'll definitely have less phone calls asking where you're shipping it.
Yes. And I'll say, here's the app. Download the app.
Perfect.
Okay. One more thing. let's say money's not an issue, right? How would you innovate or implement AI or robotic into your business to serve your clients?
I would buy every single automated Tesla truck out there if money was not an option. I really believe that is the future. There's already tests that are going on, but again, there's a hurdle right now with legislation, DOT, locally and federally. But I think if money was not an issue, I'd buy every truck, store them, right, keep them clean, and then when it's time to do it, roll them all out.
So let's talk real estate for a second. Most business owners that we serve, right, and that we know, besides their expertise in their own niche, in their own industry, we see a lot of entrepreneurs, when they're successful and they're making money, right? They like capital preservation or any type of assets that kind of allow them to keep their capital flowing, right? And so a lot of them invest in investment properties or facilities that they'll utilize in their own business, right? And you are no different, right? Please share about your experiences in real estate, your personal or your business, whatever you feel comfortable with. Talk to us about real estate.
Sure. So let's see, where do I start? I've had a property in an apartment in Williamsburg before Williamsburg was Williamsburg, what it is now.
Yes.
That was a 1-bedroom apartment. And eventually I moved out of that and rented it out because, the rental market just went crazy over there.
And I just want to point out that when you bought that apartment in Williamsburg, it was in 2007, right before the crash, right?
Correct.
And you got it at pre-construction costs.
Correct.
Sorry, just wanted to add.
Yeah. Pre-construction a little bit scary because I think from the time we put the deposit down to the time we closed, I think it was like a year and a half or 2 years. And that was in 2007, 2008. And then when the crash happened, it was scary because the building was almost done and it only had about, I think, 10% deposits on the units.
Okay.
So there's a lot of uncertainty as to who's going to pay for all the maintenance charges.
Right.
Are they going to just split it amongst that 10%? Or, who knows what's going to happen? There's no fine print of saying, you're only responsible for your unit, right?
And just to add, it's possible that back then as well, people who were interested in buying, because there was only a 10% ownership and everything kind of got halted.
Yeah.
The banks were reluctant, especially of what was happening in the market at that time. It was a credit situation, very reluctant to kind of lend on that space because of such a low occupancy rate.
Correct.
Right. So,
correct. Yep, that's correct. So that was, my first introduction into real estate. And after that, I got into a little bit of multifamilies, small multifamilies. Okay. I currently have multifamily in Astoria, Bushwick, and also my current house is multifamily, 2-fam in Astoria as well.
Okay.
I'd say this: it's New York is a very unique real estate market. Rents are crazy high, same as property value. Depending on where you live, taxes are really high, and the biggest thing is management. Right? If you can manage the property properly, then you'll do fine. But a lot of people, get into something that they're not prepared for. You're going to get those late night calls. You're going to get the AC is broken, when it's 100 degrees out. You're going to get somebody spray painted the side of the house. So it's really a matter of managing the property, building a team of plumbers, electricians, who to call, because you're just one person. I have a full-time job, and it's really having a nice network to manage one property. You need a handful of people.
So do you have a management team where you manage yourself, where you have a certain people that works with you, like the plumber, the handyman, the construction guy, you call it yourself. So I think the viewers want to know, how do you manage all these multi-family units?
Right. So it depends on the project. If, and this has happened before, somebody's light bulb went out and I got a call. And, that's something I make a quick run to Home Depot. Certain things that are a little bit tougher than a light bulb, I'll YouTube it. And if I figure, I don't know how to do this, then, I'm going to call this plumber that I know. That's why I keep a lot of contacts. And, my phone, I probably have like 3 or 4 plumbers, 3 or 4 electricians, and this is not something that someone's going to give you, because every property is different, is unique. Nobody's going to drive here from, New Jersey in the middle of the night to Astoria and say,
maybe Brooklyn.
Or Brooklyn, right? Or Brooklyn, right? So I have a good team right now of each property, that's local. A lot of times, it is myself doing certain things. It's a few properties. I don't have a huge portfolio, so I'm not at the point where I'd have a full, hired team, right?
Okay. So, a question for the viewer: as the CEO of the company, what is the biggest lesson you have to endure?
I think after I joined this family business in 2008. My father started in 1987, so we've had a long track record, right? A good track record. But things happen all the time. Disasters happen all the time. Mm-hmm. I'd say stick with it. Persistency, consistency, right?
We hear that
a lot. Right? Yep. And patience. Nothing's going to happen overnight. You keep doing the right thing day in, day out, and eventually good things happen. It just accumulates.
Okay, great. And what does a leadership mean to you, coming from a CEO as yourself?
So leadership to me is really taking ownership of every decision and everything you say, everything you do for your business. And that goes, that kind of flows into your personal life as well. Being a good leader in your own home, you are responsible for everything. We've been here for a long time, GE, since '87. I started in 2008. And, we've had decisions that didn't pan out, and there's no one to blame except for you, yourself, right? There's no one here to save you, and you are just, every decision is you, that you're creating that trajectory, whether it's good or bad.
Wow, that's great insight. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. So Ed, you are a father of 3 beautiful children, a husband to a loving and career-driven wife, and a son to spectacular parents who sacrificed and worked extremely hard to raise you and your sister, right? How do you balance all the hats that you wear and still be able to consistently lead your business, right? Like, this kind of touches on what you just said about leadership, but talk about the different roles, right? Because there are a lot of people out there who juggle just as many different positions and, struggle or feel like, it's hard to relate to, and they don't know where to get that balance from.
Yeah, I think, first off, it's my parents that gave me a great base to start from, a great platform. Right, and I can never pay him for that. And for me, if you have a good base where you start from, right, and that's where you want to end up, which means that's going to transfer to your new family that you're starting with my own kids. Right, I'm trying to give them a base to start with as well. Right. It is tough. It is tough to juggle your career with kids. I got 3. Drive me nuts. But again, it's balance, right? Everything's day to day, because if you try to plan for the next 6 months, it's not going to happen. That's with business, that's with family. Nothing's going to go the way you planned, right? So you can't, as I mentioned before, you have to take ownership of all your decisions, good or bad, and everything just falls on you. And just keep doing the same thing. Keep doing the right thing every day, day in, day out.
Perfect.
Thanks for sharing that. if someone's in their 20s, right, maybe 30s, whatever the case will be, and they like to start a logistic business, what would you tell them or share that just one thing that you would give to this person when he's looking to start this business?
Do it. I'd say do it. Take risks. When you're young, take risks. Because if it doesn't pan out, right, you start over, right? You do the same thing if you try one thing. If it's forwarding and that doesn't work out, try it again, right? Eventually, if you keep doing the right thing, it's gonna work. It will work. Yeah.
Well, maybe we could work for him, starting working as an employee and learn that from him.
I can't afford you guys. Not us.
Yeah, no, I think just to touch on that, it goes back to what you were saying about persistence and consistency, right? Like, we get asked this question a lot as well. And I think, when you've been around and the progression of your career, back then, when we were growing up, you were told, pick a career, stick with it, be committed to it. And a lot of people run into this wall where, when things get hard, they kind of give up or they fall back on it. And, having the audacity and not looking for the permission to actually try puts you in a better position than if you were not to try at all, right? And I think that's what you've done in your career, as well as you, Andy, and myself. You just keep on going and you kind of learn and pivot in different ways to adapt because, as you said, in business and in your personal life, that's really what it is. Nothing ever goes according to plan. And it's really about your commitment and discipline to kind of go through those motions and, take everything day by day to accomplish those goals. And eventually it adds up and it gets you into a position that, later on down the road that you would have never imagined yourself to be in from the start. Yeah. So,
that's right.
Yeah. So Ed, I want to thank you for your time today. We know you're busy and we definitely covered a lot. Is there anything else that you'd like to, speak upon in terms of any advice or anything that you'd like to talk about in terms of the business or your life? Feel free.
Yeah. First off, thanks, guys. This has been fun. Great opportunity, and I'm happy to be number one, 00 episode 001. But yeah, I mean, I think it's I'm blessed to have the people around me. Adam, known each other for 30 years. I've seen him go through different phases, different careers, different businesses.
Yeah.
And I mentioned, he's a testament to being persistent, right? Consistency, right? Everybody wants to work with him. There's not a single person, any of his partners that would ever say, this is a guy that I don't want to work with. Everybody wants to work with him, right? So yeah, things, like I say, do the right thing every day and good things happen.
I appreciate that, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.